So on Friday, there was a new movie on Netflix released called Einstein and the Bomb. And I watched it. Here's what I think. But first, here's what the movie is about. As you've probably guessed, it's about Einstein's life and what he had to do with the atomic bomb. It's in the style of a documentary or a biopic. It's a bit of a mix of both. Anyway, when I watched the trailer for Einstein and the Bomb, it reminded me of Oppenheimer, but just in bad. I mean, a lot of shots were very similar to Oppenheimer, and also the music even sounded quite similar to Oppenheimer. And then I watched the movie, and yes, I was right. It is pretty similar to Oppenheimer. But first, I'll start with the positive stuff. And one of it is you do learn a lot about the rise of Hitler, and there's a lot of original material. What's also cool about this movie is that every word that the actor that played Albert Einstein says is also spoken or written down by the real Albert Einstein. At least Netflix says that. But I mean, there's already my first negative, because I mean, it's cool that they only use stuff that Albert Einstein had written down or said. But the problem with that is it doesn't really translate good into dialogue between two characters. I mean, you wouldn't say something that you write down for a book. You know what I mean? And also Albert Einstein himself, I mean, you don't really get to know him that well, because the only thing that you really get to know about him is that he didn't like Nazis because, well, they were killing his people, the Jews. And he doesn't get a lot of screen time. It's almost like he's kind of a side character in his own movie/documentary. Also, what I found weird was that Oppenheimer doesn't even get mentioned in a movie that's called Einstein and the Bomb. And they also rush over things like, for instance, E equals mc squared, which is one of the most important equations Einstein ever made, and they don't tell you why or how he did it. So even though this movie is like 1 hour and 10 minutes long, it feels like it's 2 hours long. To give them some credit though, they did do a good job in switching between old footage from his time and the new footage that Netflix shot for this movie. So a mediocre film, but not a terrible one, but definitely not a good one. 2.5 out of 5. To check out the best and worst movies that came out in January, click here.